Hi, everybody. I'm a Raging Papist. Thanks for joining me. Today, I am here to say farewell to BioWare. Uh, the reason is, if you haven't heard, BioWare has the studio hasn't closed, but they have downsized in Montreal, as well as an EA has officially stated it includes deal with the Quarians and all that to come in and help flesh the story out. That's not coming anymore. In the meantime, any remaining work on BioWare or on Andromeda is going to be nothing but patching. They just came out with patch 1.06 today or yesterday or whatever, and the point is, it's done. So I thought I'd just give my 2 cents about this. Am I happy? Yes and no. This is a bittersweet event. I'm happy that Mass Effect is on quote-unquote hiatus, the shelving, if you cared. It's just BioWare is incapable of doing a good Mass Effect game now and potentially forever, as long as they remain politically converged, as long as they hemorrhage and chase away talent, as long as EA keeps managing them as just a corporate entity to use and abuse, there will never be another good Mass Effect game. So that hurts me. And why does that hurt me? Well, because Mass Effect was one of the games, one of the franchises that meant most to me in my life. I played through the very first Mass Effect countless times, to the point where my Xbox red ringed. Okay, so it broke down. 2, I thought 2 was really good until you got to the ending and you fight the Terminator, and that's when I started noticing the holes in the story with the collectors and all that. I'm like, this isn't that good of an enemy, but it was a good story, good characters. Then you had Mass Effect 3, and I didn't care for much of that. I only cared for the death scenes and the emotionally impactful moments, and the direction they went in with there's no conventional way to kill the Reapers. You have to the galaxy must unite, right? All that crap. That was not good. And then you have Andromeda, which I didn't play, but I did watch enough of it to know, stay as far away from this game as you can. So I've already made that video. This is a good thing because I don't need to see the franchise that I care about and the company that I used to love get raked over the coals anymore. BioWare is going off its own new direction. They've already stated that they don't want to make RPGs anymore. So I think they said their next project is some type of action shooter multiplayer. It almost sounds like a Destiny clone, is what people are saying. So I already sense a clusterfuck coming with that. And the reason's pretty simple. If a game doesn't know what it wants to be when it sets out, it's not going to do anything particularly well, is it? I mean, a writer doesn't say, I'm going to start writing a story, and let's just see where the pages take me. That's that might be fine for your creative writing class, but that's not acceptable in development or in the real world, the professional world. So I already sense that's a disaster. EA has already said that new project that BioWare is working on has now been delayed officially. So it's not looking good. It's not looking good for BioWare. They're certainly not closing down the studio. There's still way too many things for EA to milk. Okay, so BioWare is not going anywhere, and it's sad to lose that franchise that we cared so much about. But it is good. Now let's talk about why this is a good thing. The downsizing of the Montreal team to a quote-unquote support role is a positive thing. They clearly aren't very good. They should never have been given the Mass Effect game to work on. Not way too big for the new C team to handle. To be the continuation of the glorious franchise that we had. So they should never have been given to it. It was riddled. It is politically converged. It's meaning there are SJWs everywhere who just want to take things in their own direction, and damn the consequences, damn the profits. And you are seeing that. So, and I like it because all the defenders are going to be saying, no, no, no. They're going to buy the corporate line that we don't really care about, you know, because EA essentially said, well, we're just disappointed with the review scores. Yeah, I bet you're disappointed with the review scores. I mean, my God, you go to Metacritic, it's the user score that people care about, and it's somewhere between like a 4.5 and a 5, so it's bad. Even critical acclaim gives it around a 70. So it's not good. This was not a good game. I don't need to tell you that. You know this now. So this is a good thing for the industry. It's a good thing to have SJWs be chased away. This could allow developers to new ones, fresh ones, non-PC converged people to go in and maybe get a job there. Who knows? This allows whatever talent is left on the C team at Montreal, whatever scraps there are, to go out and find new jobs with different developers. So I don't want to hear any bemoaning about, oh, the poor people that worked at BioWare. BioWare is not dead, okay? And I don't want talentless people working on the titles that mean something to me. If CD Projekt Red started hiring a bunch of talentless political hacks that said, I want to try something new with Cyberpunk 2020 or 2070 or whatever, I'd be pretty pissed. That is the next RPG that I'm looking forward to, basically. Something that can wash away the taint of SJW convergence, right? So there's really not much else to say. I mean, I don't really feel bad. It's actually bittersweet. Farewell, Mass Effect franchise. I wish you weren't destroyed the way you were, rather, by BioWare and EA. But that was inevitable. We saw that coming. We saw that coming ever since the purchase, frankly, and the doctors left. So, if people want the actual news, I have an article here from One Angry Gamer entitled BioWare New IP Delay Isn't Due to Mass Effect Andromeda Being Trash, says EA. BioWare's newest project, their action-adventure online game, is being delayed to launch anywhere between April 2018 and March 2019. This was revealed during a conference call following EA's release of their Q4 2017 financials. GameSpot quoted Electronic Arts CEO Andrew Wilson as to why BioWare's new IP was being delayed, and he claims that it has nothing to do with the mixed reactions that Mass Effect Andromeda received. Of course. Political speak, business-related speech, that's bullshit. There's no other way. Of course, it's related to how their sales are. Of course, it's not related to the critical, you know, I love how they say mixed reactions. It's the second time I've seen that. These are not mixed reactions, okay? The only people that like Andromeda and like the direction BioWare is going are the diehard fanboys, some of them who aren't going to be buying the games anyway, and they just support you for political reasons, and some because they will purchase any slop you put out. And those numbers of those people continue to shrink. So, yeah, it has nothing to do with the mixed reactions. Anyway, he says, quote, "The choice to move the new IP and what happened with Mass Effect Andromeda are completely unrelated. Yes, the reality is we have a creative process. As a company, creativity and pioneering is really important for us. Innovation in games is important now more than ever. And as a leader in the industry, we see it as our responsibility to innovate." Yeah, that was a real innovation. "As part of our creative process, and I get to be involved in that creative process, we recognize that there was so much more opportunity in a connective, networked, social world to do some things in the new BioWare game that had never been done before, and that we don't think anyone is going to do anytime soon. But by virtue of our network, our cross-platform presence, and our scale, we think we can do that. And we chose to give the team some more time to deliver against that innovation because we believe players are looking for the kinds of things that we plan to put into that game. End quote. So I don't know. Players were not looking forward to the things that you Andromeda. They missed the mark on that. So, keep doing what you're doing, and I'm sure the next game will be a rip-roaring failure when you find out BioWare because they made RPGs, and they don't want to make RPGs anymore. That's fine. Back to the article. My question is, where the heck was Wilson when Mass Effect Andromeda was looking like trash during the development process if he's so involved? How did he not see that the game had objectively worse visuals than Mass Effect 1 from a freaking decade ago? How do you miss that and say it's okay? And before fanboys run to BioWare's defense, yes, Mass Effect Andromeda featured less shadow rendering, dynamic light shaders, and even eye reflections in its initial release. All of those features were present at launch in Mass Effect 1, and there's even a comparison video between the two to prove that Andromeda, a decade later, managed to come out looking worse than a game made 10 years prior. Check out the video for comparison. Link to the video below it. Game for at least 15 years, in the last 15 years, knows that Andromeda had an extremely slow, boring, and trite story. The script for the dialogue was amateurish, and the entirely new galaxy that players explored in Andromeda looked less alien than anything featured in the original Mass Effect trilogy. That's not to mention that the villains were forgettable. How Ryder became qualified for Pathfinder made no sense, and none of the crew members stood out as being particularly strong characters. Defended Mass Effect Andromeda, saying that despite the mixed reactions, it was an interesting title that many players found what they were, quote-unquote, looking for. Mass Effect Andromeda is an interesting title. It was in development for a really long time and represented a lot of great things that BioWare is known for. Story, size, depth, breadth, imagination. And while overall the aggregate review scores were lower than we would have liked, we did have over 100 reviewers score the game at 80 or higher. So it represents a fan base that's very passionate, that's looking for and many players found exactly what they're looking for, and some players didn't. Yeah, some players didn't. Continuing, the comment section on the GameSpot article basically trashes the game from top to bottom, with sprinklings of fanboys in between rushing in to defend the game. Most people comment that there are parts of Andromeda that just don't hold up to the standards set by the original Mass Effect. Peter Rocco, I guess, I'm assuming this is a link to a Metacritic review. I'll go ahead and read that. He says, I went into Andromeda thinking, whoops, give me 1 second here. I went into Andromeda thinking it cannot be that bad. ME1 had issues too. Needless to say, I was wrong. ME1 is so much better. It's such a disappointment, though. A whole new universe with new characters and a new galaxy was such an enticing prospect. Instead, we got Citadel 2.0, only this time it's not interesting to explore and discover at all. Normandy 2.0 minus the lovable smartass pilot and a robot that has a crush on him. Mako 2.0 that looks prettier, but it's not even really an improvement over what you got on ME1. The planet improvement has a nice idea, feels rewarding, but I don't feel it's worth anything in the grand scheme of things. And characters are bottom of the barrel, in stark contrast to the previous trilogy. Back to the article, it's not even in the comment section. It's also on YouTube videos, even on the forum discussion boards. There are typical stragglers who come in to defend Andromeda, but it's usually on the grounds that the game's environments look fantastic. And there's no arguing about it because they objectively do look fantastic. But good-looking environments don't make a game fun to play. And the user Metacritic scores, and this is where I was getting, yeah, all the Metacritic scores are in the 70s from the professional people. And as the way Metacritic breaks it down, on the left side you have professional reviewers, on the right you have the user score. User scores are any random Joe who goes in and gives it a score. The trolls, like if a person really hates the game, they'll just give a game a 0. It's not honest, but it gets the point across. Anyway, the user scores for Mass Effect Andromeda are less than 5 on the article. Okay, and this was written yesterday. So it's shit. The question is it shit? Yes, it's shit. Back to the article, Wilson is definitely right that the professional scores are mixed, but the user scores tell a story where the majority are not pleased with the results at all. It's hard to separate the negative feedback from Andromeda, where a lot of people noted that the diversity hires included people working on parts of the game that they weren't qualified to handle, while others who were working on the game had an active SJW agenda with the recent delay of BioWare's newest IP. The first thing that comes to mind is that EA is now actively overseeing quality control on the product to ensure that they don't have another Andromeda on their hands. The delay feels like they want to spend some time in production to avoid the fallout that BioWare befell with their last outing. Billy D. Billy D is a good guy. I'm not sure if he's the founder of One Angry Gamer, but he's been around a long time. I really like his articles. And that sums it up. They're going to be doing damage control now. Whatever Destiny clone, shooter, non-RPG BioWare is working on in the future. And as I predict, this is going to go even worse now. They're only going to go downhill now, even with EA overseeing them. Because what does EA not understand? Developers. Because EA is not developers. They are publishers, right? They tell them what you want. And as people have already said, they want multiplayer. They want graphics. They want a PC corporate line so that everyone feels tolerated and accepted and loved, and there's no pushback. Everything's nice here. Everything's fine. So that's it for BioWare. As I've said before, there's no reason to continue buying their products. I mean, who knows? If they're ditching the RPG crowd, if they're ditching why they've had fans since the very beginning of the company up until now, who knows? Maybe they can get some Call of Duty people or whoever the Destiny people are. I've heard that BioWare teams are currently working on Star Wars Battlefront 2. That's cool. Yeah, that's their forte. So, what else is there to say? Farewell, Mass Effect. Farewell, BioWare. It was an amazing decade that I played all your games. You're not the same anymore, and it's not me, it's you. So I'm going to let you go off and do your own thing, and I'm going to be happy with the rest of my life because there's plenty of other games to play. Thanks for joining me, everybody. Sorry it was so short, but I don't have much else to say. If people want me to comment further, send me a message, whatever. Farewell, Mass Effect. Thanks, everybody. See you later.